To marry a Borgia was to enter a world where alliances were sealed with wine and broken with arsenic. But what happens when the woman they chose as a pawn refuses to play her part? Sancha of Aragón was not born to a throne, but she would dominate a court. She was offered in marriage like a weapon wrapped in velvet, not to save, but to conquer. This is not the story of a princess. It is the story of a poison with a crown. Before Rome turned her into a myth, Sancha of Aragón was already walking on embers in the kingdom of Naples. One did not live there. One survived. The Neapolitan court was a theater of appearances, where lavish banquets concealed bloody conspiracies, and the smiles between nobles were as sharp as the knives they hid. Her father, Alfonso II, was not a temperate king. He ruled with a heavy hand, a loose tongue, and excessive appetites. Among his many illegitimate children, Sancha was the favorite, not out of love, but because she possessed that look the men of power recognize, a hunger for more. From childhood, he kept her close, listening to her with an uncomfortable attention. The court whispered that their closeness bordered on the improper, but in Naples, secrets were worth more than gold. Sancha grew up among embroidered tapestries and hidden daggers. She learned to move like smoke and to watch as if she already knew the end of the game. Her first lovers were not poets or knights, but practice pieces. A young captain, a diplomat's son who talked more than he should, a cardinal with hands that did not pray. None survived her ambition, not because they died, but because they were forgotten. Sancha did not love, she memorized. Every whisper was another coin in her invisible coffer of power. By the age of 16, her father offered her in marriage. It was then that Rome inquired about her, and the ever-hungry Borgias accepted. She was married to Gioffre Borgia, the youngest son of Pope Alexander VI, in a political union meant to bind the papacy to Naples. She arrived in Rome not as a timid bride, but as a woman fully aware of the game. Contemporaries noted her sharp, assessing gaze. Some dangerously misjudged her, believing she was a sheep being offered to wolves. They had not yet realized who the true predator was. She had entered the gilded cage of the Borgias, but she had no intention of being tamed. Once settled in the Vatican, Sancha quickly formed a genuine friendship with her sister-in-law, Lucrezia Borgia, a fellow pawn who understood the pressures of their gilded prison. But it was not this friendship that would define her time in Rome. It was the rumors about her relationships with her husband's two older brothers that would set the court ablaze. Her husband, Gioffre, was a quiet teenager, utterly eclipsed by his siblings and easily dominated by his wife. Their marriage was a union in name only. Sancha, vibrant and ambitious, looked past him toward the true centers of power, Juan and Cesare. Juan Borgia, the Duke of Gandia, was their father's favorite. Arrogant and handsome, he was used to getting what he wanted. Court gossip soon insisted that he wanted his brother's wife, and whispers of a passionate affair spread like wildfire. In a court where perception was everything, this was a flagrant challenge to the family's authority. But Juan was not the only brother captivated by her. Cesare Borgia, the cardinal, was everything Juan was not. Quiet, calculating, and possessing a chilling ruthlessness. He resented his brother's favored status, and before long, Sancha's name was linked with his as well. The rumors painted a scandalous picture. The beautiful outsider, allegedly entangled with both powerful brothers-in-law. Whether she was a victim caught between them or a masterful player manipulating both, the outcome was undeniable. A bitter rivalry that had simmered for years between Cesare and Juan now erupted into open hatred, with Sancha as its incandescent center. The brothers now competed not just for favor and glory, but for the one woman in Rome who seemed as daring as they were. The affair, or affairs, had created a toxic brew of jealousy. It was a poison that would soon lead to murder. The hatred between the brothers was destined to boil over. On a dark night in June 1497, after a dinner hosted by the Pope, Juan Borgia rode off into the Roman night, telling Cesare he had a private matter to attend to. He was never seen alive again. The next day, panic set in. The investigation led to the Tiber River, where a witness reported seeing a body thrown into the water. Soon after, the river gave up its dead. The body of Juan Borgia was pulled from the depths, stabbed 9 times. His purse of gold was untouched. This was not a robbery. The murder of the Pope's son sent a shockwave through Rome. An official investigation was launched, only to be abruptly cancelled. Though the killers were never identified, Rome's whisper network had already reached its conclusion. The prime suspect was, and remains, Cesare Borgia. His fierce rivalry with Juan, fueled by jealousy over military command and the rumors of their shared desire for Sancha of Aragón, provided a powerful motive. With Juan gone, the path was clear for Cesare to seize the power he craved. Cesare then made an unprecedented move, resigning his position as cardinal to pursue a military career, a shock to the church. He forged a new alliance with France, a traditional enemy of Sancha's homeland, Naples. Suddenly, the political ties that made Sancha a valuable asset now made her a dangerous liability. The alliance with Naples had been strengthened when Sancha's brother, Alfonso of Aragon, married Lucrezia Borgia. In Cesare's new world, this was an obstacle to be removed. The final betrayal came in the summer of 1500. Sancha's beloved brother, Alfonso, was ambushed on the steps of St. Peter's Basilica. He survived the attack and was carried to the Borgia apartments, where Sancha and Lucrezia tended to him. It seemed he might recover. But Cesare Borgia did not leave things to chance. On the night of August 18th, Cesare's most trusted enforcer, Micheletto Corella, entered the sick room with armed men. They cleared the room and strangled the young prince to death. The message was clear. Anyone who stood in the way of Cesare's ambition would be eliminated. For Sancha, it was the ultimate devastation. She was now utterly alone, trapped in the heart of the family that had destroyed her own. With her brother murdered, Sancha was a political prisoner. A living reminder of Borgia treachery, she was imprisoned in the formidable Castel Sant'Angelo. There she spent 3 years. No velvet dresses, no banquets, no poisoned wine, just stone, solitude, and silence. Freedom came only after the death of Pope Alexander VI in 1503. With the patriarch gone, Cesare's empire crumbled, and the gates of the prison were opened. Sancha walked free, a survivor. She left Rome forever and returned to Naples, taking with her her young nephew Rodrigo, the son of her murdered brother Alfonso and her friend Lucrezia, and raised him as her own. What history silenced. Little was written about the last days of Sancha. The official records are vague. Some claim she died of illness, others that she went mad. But in the dark corridors of the Vatican, another version was whispered, that she was poisoned, not for love or revenge, but for convenience. The scandal had to end. She died in 1506, at the age of just 28. So what is her legacy? Was Sancha of Aragón a victim, an executioner, or both? She was not canonized nor excommunicated. She was not a recognized martyr or witch. She was all of that and none of it at the same time. And perhaps that is why she remains alive, like everything that is not resolved, like everything that burns in silence. Make sure to subscribe, because here we unearth the stories that those in power preferred to bury, the forgotten, the forbidden, and the feared. Sancha of Aragón was a woman surrounded by poison, betrayal, and ambition. But what was she really? A helpless pawn, a cunning survivor, or a silent executioner in her own right? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was she a victim, a villain, or something far more complex? Don't forget to hit that notification bell, because the next chapter in our journey through history will be even darker.